Today we are driving the 2021 Nissan Armada. This is a truck, really, basically a truck that has largely gone unchanged from a lot of standpoints since it debuted in 2004. Now, Nissan did fully redesign the Armada in 2016, but even then, we were still looking at a body-on-frame, V8 powered vehicle designed most specifically for towing big, heavy things and carrying a family of 5, 6, 7, or 8. Third row seating is standard with the Armada, and in our test car, we have a platinum trim. We have second row captain's chairs with a pretty impressive center console between them. In fact, the chairs behind me are largely identical to and just as comfortable as the chair that I'm sitting on now, the driver's seat. That's not something that you typically see in family vehicles. Normally the front seats are definitely the best place to sit. The second row, a shade behind that, and the third row is a disaster. Now, I wouldn't go as far as to say that the third row in the Armada is a disaster, but it is definitely a bit tighter than an average-sized adult would want to find, and it's significantly less spacious than what you'll get in the new Chevy Tahoe or GMC Yukon, and it's way less spacious than a minivan's third row or the third rows in three-row crossovers like the Kia Telluride and the Hyundai Palisade. Now, as we come up to a stop here, make sure we don't get T-boned by anybody. We'll let this truck pass. It's convenient that we just got passed by two pickup trucks because, interestingly enough, these days, pickup trucks like that, those are the Armada's stiffest competition. I mean, sure, if you have, a family of 5, you're going to want a third row. If you need to carry anything more than 5 people, you definitely need a third row. But otherwise, I mean, the only vehicles on the market that come close to a body-on-frame, 3-row SUVs level of capability are pickup trucks, full-size pickup trucks. This guy can carry 8,500 pounds behind it. You can tow 8,500 pounds on a trailer, which is like an astronomical figure. Not quite as much as a full-size pickup truck, but way more than a crossover could ever take care of. Sorry. The brakes work just fine. Steering is not quite boat-like, but you can tell it's a big car. It's not nearly as smooth or as refined as the Yukon was, but the GMC Yukon for 2021 includes a ton of kind of high-tech advanced suspension features. The one we tested had 4-corner airbag suspension and magnetorheological dampers, which might be my favorite automotive term to say. That magnerized suspension, particularly through the bends, really does an incredible job of soaking up any imperfections and really leveling the car out. Got a couple of big cars on a little New England road. Now, even though the Armada looks a lot different than it did in 2004, hell, it even looks different than it did in 2015, the same V8 power is here and remains the primary reason for buying a truck like this. 5.6 liters, 400 horsepower, 413 pound-feet of torque, 7-speed automatic transmission. Now, certainly it's nice to see that Nissan didn't try and squeeze a continuously variable transmission into the Armada like they have in a lot of their crossovers, but realistically, a CVT is not the transmission you're going to want to put into a big tow vehicle anyways. More interestingly is that the Armada wasn't fitted with the 9-speed automatic transmission that we've seen in the new Frontier and, oh geez, and in the new Pathfinder. And I suspect that that likely has to do with the gearing of the 9-speed transmission and how it's better off for a vehicle that's not trying to tow a houseboat. But then again, I mean, the Frontier is going to be able to pull significant weight. And even the last generation Frontier in 2020, I believe they skipped the 2021 model year. That could be wrong though. But the 2020 Frontier, they added the V6 with the 9-speed automatic. So it's unlikely, due to the fact that the Armada is an older architecture. I imagine they could have shoehorned it in there. So it has to have something to do with the productivity capabilities of the truck. What's interesting to note is that while the Armada is by no means a small car, it is significantly easier to handle than one of the full-size SUVs from Ford or Chevy, GMC. Oh, look at this. You got a turkey in the road. I don't think he's going anywhere. Whew. Those cars, they feel as tall as a house, about as heavy as a house. This one, you can definitely feel the weight of the car, but it never feels like it has quite the same width. I live in the outskirts of Boston, and even there, with pretty narrow urban streets, cars parked on both sides, I didn't feel my palms sweating driving the Armada. And there were definitely some tight moments driving the Yukon last week. So if you need a car that you can fit the whole family and their friends into and can tow the boat while doing it, but you don't want it to anything that's gonna really feel too unwieldy, Armada's definitely a good option there. However, if you need something that gets good gas mileage, look elsewhere. The EPA estimates that this specific car, a 2-wheel drive Nissan Armada Platinum trim, should get 14 miles per gallon in the city, and should get 19 on the highway, and should get 20 doesn't make any sense at all. Should get 16 in combined driving. Now, sure enough, I took the Armada on a 5-hour road trip, did roughly 220 miles, almost all highway. I actually saw better than 19 miles per gallon. It was pretty flat going, but I did a solid 19 and a half, almost 20, kind of heading south, definitely losing elevation. We saw about 20. On the way back, we had averaged out to about 19. So you might eke out a few more MPGs than the EPA estimates, but I suspect that's only the case on the highway. And more importantly, I mean, nobody's saving gas money buying an Armada. One of the details that I really like about this car is just how quiet it is. Nissan installs an acoustic windshield, which really on its own isn't that noteworthy. Many automakers do it, but whatever sort of noise isolation tactics that are being employed here are really quite effective. I mean, a 5.6 liter V8 is not something you can just muffle too easily, but I hardly hear it. There's a bunch of tech upgrades for 2021 as well. You can watch the full video review for a little more detail, and certainly head to CarGurus.com to read our written review, which goes into even more detail on Nissan's tech enhancements for the 2021 Armada. But in short, this 12.3-inch touchscreen is standard across all trims. It is worth noting that while this is a touchscreen, this is not. So it's really more of an 8-inch touchscreen with a 4-inch bonus screen. Gives you a little extra information, albeit even that information is largely redundant. You know, we can put a clock there, we can put the weather, but that's all information that you can see on other screens anyways. It's worth noting Apple CarPlay is wireless, but Android Auto is not. So I do not have an iPhone. I use an Android phone, a Google Pixel. So I didn't get to benefit from wireless CarPlay, but I also don't have wireless charging on my phone. So I was going to have to plug it in to keep it charged anyways. Not a huge issue if that's the case, but if you do have wireless charging on your phone, on your iPhone, you'll undoubtedly come to appreciate that pairing of wireless CarPlay and wireless charging. There's a bunch of safety features that are also included. This car has blind spot monitoring, automatic emergency braking, lane keeping assist. I do want to point out the lane keeping assist system is not terrific. It does more of a vibrate and tell you to get back in the lane than it does a gentle correction. So I normally keep all of those safety systems on all the time, and this time around I did turn off the lane keeping assist. Similarly, adaptive cruise control works great until it doesn't. So what I mean by that is it does a wonderful job of slowing the car down, speeding the car up, but particularly if someone is getting off of the highway in front of you, if they're heading off into the off-ramp to get off at an exit, I found over and over again the Armada's adaptive cruise control system would overreact and really slow things down way too dramatically, and it had me going 45, 50 miles per hour in the right lane of the highway when everybody around me is going 70. And at that point, you have to wonder if the safety system is really being a safety system, or moreover just being kind of a I'm not paying attention while driving convenience system. Regardless, it is nice to see that Nissan has included a ton of these advanced driver assistance systems as standard equipment, and on a car as large as the Armada, that's what I like to see. It takes a little extra focus to drive a car this big, so let's load it up with as many safety systems as necessary. So I would say that is a pretty good look at how I've been feeling and what we've been thinking about the 2021 Nissan Armada this week. I do encourage everyone to watch our full video review and to read our written review of the 2021 Nissan Armada on CarGurus.com. If you have any questions, any comments, Please let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to the CarGurus YouTube channel. As always, if you hit the bell icon, we'll make sure that you get a notification every time we upload a new video. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.